Hey guys, what's up? My name's Natalie. Welcome back to my channel, Nat's Bookshelf. And today, or should I say tonight, as you can tell by the lighting, we have a very special video planned. Okay, as you can tell, I'm a little bit tipsy, and that's fine because that is the point of this video. So, I have been subjecting myself to copious amounts of wine, and we are going to react to 1-star reviews of all of my favorite books because I love to torment myself. So, I have my wine. I have my handy dandy laptop. And we are ready to start this crazy charade. So I'm just going to set this right here on my lap. And we're just going to go at it. And I believe we should start with the one and only Outlander, because I already know that that's a book that a lot of people dislike, so I know that there are 1-star reviews on here. I can't even talk. It's totally okay. Let's react to some 1-star reviews. Outlander, shall we? I should probably screen record this. Let me figure out how to screen record on my laptop because I've never done that before. I see a lot of ads. I don't want the ads. How to screen record on a Chromebook. That sounds about right. We're gonna pause and be right back until I figure out how to do this. Okay, guys. So, I'm probably gonna have to screen record this after the fact, screenshot these, whatever. Y'all understand. This is just way too much of a process for me to actually process right now with 3.5 glasses of wine down. It's just too much. So, y'all see my handy dandy laptop right here. Y'all see that I am on Goodreads. I am reading these and reacting to them. It's just gonna be a late screen record. It's fine. Everything's fine. Everything is fine. So, like I said, we are gonna go ahead and start with my number one, my ride or die, and that is Outlander. Y'all already know. There's over 50,000 reviews of this damn book. What the fuck? So, let's see how many of those are 1-star reviews. How in the world do you actually get this to separate the star reviews? I need to figure this out. Who knew getting drunk before the fact would affect this? 1 star. Oh my god. There is over 31,000 out of 50,000 that are 1 star. Holy crap. Okay, here we are. I'm here. I'm scared. Okay, Mrs. Deborah Marcus rated it 1 star. 1 star, guys. What the actual fuck? Okay. She says, I gave up on this book because I was sustaining permanent damage from reading it, and I was afraid I'd start hitting back. And as it's a borrowed copy, so that wouldn't be cool. I can't do this. I can't do this. Okay. In fairness, I should say there's a lot of good writing here. Okay, Miss Deborah Marcus. I really enjoyed the beginning chapters. Okay. they even kind of cracked me up because I have friends who love genealogy and their husbands always get that look when they start talking about it, and that's exactly how I imagined Claire looking when her husband Frank started droning on and on about his ancestors. Okay, I'm not mad at you yet. Okay, Miss Deborah. And Claire is a nurse, which is a really good transportable skill if you're going to be thrown back in time, which it turns out Claire is. Sorry, spoiler alert. Can you imagine if you were one of those nerds on wheels computer repair people and you got sent to the 18th century Scotland? You'd be totally screwed. But Claire's skill come in handy without seeming out of place. A woman who's a dab hand at healing is always welcome in olden times, so Claire is able to land on her feet and kind of get a job when she figures out what happened to her and comes to terms with it. Which is pretty much immediately. Okay, this is where we differ. No, it's not. Which is when the book started to lose me. There's like no culture shock, whatever. She gets knocked back 200 years or so. She goes, whoa, what the fliminy. She starts being the lady to go with your 18th century Scottish boo-boos. That's it. No, she's not. There's definitely a culture shock. Oh my gosh. Yes, there's definitely a culture shock. Most definitely. She adjusted a little bit better than most people, let's be honest. But there is a culture shock, I promise you. There are a few mentions of things like how shoes fit differently back then and anachronistic language, but there's no sense of the kind of thing a person from the future would be startled by. Not the food, not the weird underwear, nothing. Claire just settles in and starts being the resident nurse at a castle. Okay, so maybe Diana Gabaldon did not go over every single detail of everything Claire had to get accustomed to. But honestly, would you read that? Would you be excited about that? Obviously, there was a culture shock for her. She went back from 1940s Scotland to 1800s Scotland. Of course there's a culture shock, and it's definitely in there. Miss Diana Gabaldon just happened to know how to like write that to make it fit. She keeps half an eye out for a chance to get to the place that can take her back to the future, but it has all the deep emotional urgency that I feel when I should really stop by the grocery store on the way home, but it won't kill anybody if I go back tomorrow instead. Like, what else? So, I do not agree with this. So, I feel like there's a turning point in the Outlander books where Claire is just like not worried about it anymore, and it's after the wedding. Okay, like before then she's planning. She gets caught by Jamie pretty much in the stables. If you read the book rather than just watch the show, you know that there's a point where Claire tries to escape during the big celebration and she gets caught in the stables. Like, there is an urgency, but she also knows she might die if she gets caught trying to escape. Okay, so let's continue on with Miss Deborah's review. Still, there was plenty to keep me interested, like leeches. The stuff about leeches was cool. Okay, that was kind of cool. I admit, I like the stuff about leeches. And the info about healing herbs. And the kid that gets his ear hammered to a board because he was caught stealing. Okay, those things are kind of cool. I admit. Really, this book would have worked fine for me if it hadn't been for what everybody else seems to love about it, which is the romantic interest. Oh my god. You can't be talking crap about Jamie. Which still would have been fine, even with the whole she's married already thingy. Okay. But let's continue. But okay, let's say that she has to marry that guy. They aren't in love when they get married, and so the whole point of the book is to watch their relationship develop, which, while Claire struggles with guilt and fear and thoughts of how her real husband must be worrying about her, and how the heck does time travel work in this book, and why is she just assuming that time is going by in the future at the same rate it is for her? Why, I ask you? Oh my god. Okay, so Deborah continues by saying, sorry, I'm a minor league nerd, and this part really bugged me. So, what I just described would have been a book I could read and enjoy, or at least read and not scream in pain, but apparently someone gave Diana Gabaldon the creepiest piece of writing advice ever, and it was this. Listen, you know how if you're cooking and you're worried it's not turning out very well, just add bacon if it's savory and chocolate chip if it's sweet, and everybody will love it? Well, if you're working on your first novel and you don't know what to have happen next, just throw in some or some attempt. Works like a charm. She follows this advice to the letter, and I'm sorry, but I have to go home now. Okay, how did I know that the amount of times it comes up in this series would be the main concern of these 1-star reviews? I know that it's not okay to just throw life in there because you feel like it. But I also know that Diana Gabaldon stayed true to the time period. Yes, we are used to living in the 2000s and the 1990s and a part of time where rape was still prevalent, but maybe not as prevalent as it was back in the 1800s. Like, yes, back then men thought they were God. They thought they could get away with whatever they wanted. They would for women for no reason at all. The majority of them, yes, that is a real thing. That is a thing that has slowly worked its way out of our society to where it's just the shitheads of our society. That is a real thing, okay? This really happens. This is how guys reacted to situations back in the 1800s because they were taught that it was okay. I managed to read the she disobeys him so he beats her with his belt scene. I almost punched the book right in the face, but as I said, it's a friend's copy, so I had to be nice. I am just gonna go ahead and assume that you don't read dark romance because I do, and this scene was everything for like an 1800s scene, but with a woman from the future. That scene was everything, and at the end of it, Jamie gives Claire his dagger and is like, if I ever raise my hand in rebellion against you again, I pray this dagger pierces my heart. He vows to never do it again because he learned from his mistakes, and that's what books are about. Learning from your mistakes, right? I can't believe I'm still only on the first review. Oh my gosh, and it keeps going. So then I managed to get through the she forgives him for the beating like the next freaking day scene. I started fantasizing about this book getting stuck in the elevator of a burning building, but I was also able to hold on and keep going. Then there was a scene where Big Kilted Oaf, Jamie, starts laughing about the whole beating thing and reminiscing about how hot she looked when he was holding her down, beating the crap out of her, and she forgives him for that, like, instantly, and I'm all, who am I and what am I doing here? Let's not talk crap about Jamie, okay? We stan him on this channel. And he's from the 1800s, so can we cut him a break? He is learning. If you read the entire series, he is learning from his mistakes, okay? And still I staggered on, heaven only knows why. And how did the author reward me for my perseverance? What is this book all about? What's the recurring literary theme? Attempt, more attempt, marital, a little more marital, conversations about, giggling during conversations, and I'm out of here, and I don't care how many of my friends hate me. Okay, first of all, that is not the only recurring theme in this book. I hate when people read this book and that's all they see, because you can't get past the time period that this book is placed in. Okay? We are in the 1800s here. We gotta be realistic. Men were pigs. They have only developed since then, and they are still pigs, but at least they're a little bit better than they were in the 1800s. I read 444 pages in a row, plus I skimmed a lot of the rest of it, including the creepy Chekhov's gun I have ever seen fired. Do not tell me that I didn't give this book a fair chance. I totally did. In case you need proof, here's a list of all the things I learned from Outlander. It's a bummer for the woman involved, but save your sympathy for her brother. It can lead to comically inaccurate ideas about how people do the nasty. Number 3. Nearly turns you on for Mr. Right. Jamie and Claire are off on their own in the woods for a spot of marital bliss when they're set upon by highwaymen. Claire is nearly raped, but manages to kill her assailant. Yada, 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 yada. I know where this is going, okay? Do you not read smut? I have to think that these people don't read smut, or at least not the kind of smut that I read. Am I really that strange? I'm starting to think I am. I can't finish this review because I'm gonna be here forever. That was the first review of this. Okay? Okay, this one's not as long, and it is by Mr. Kai Spellmare. I'm gonna guess. I'll post a screenshot for you. Here, I'm going to rewrite the scene that ruined this book for me. Jamie, some Highlander from the 1740s. You know what? I've been saying the 1800s this entire video, but it's the 1700s. But it's the 1700s. That just makes the idea more prevalent. Because they didn't care. Jamie, some Highlander from the 1740s. Claire, you didn't listen to what I said. You disobeyed me, your husband. You risked everyone's lives, and I'm going to punish you for your misbehavior. Yes, I know the evil man abused you and nearly raped you, but that was your own fault. I love you. I really do. I don't enjoy this, but people expect me to give you the punishment you deserve. Can we just, have some sympathy for Jamie that he is a young, 21, 22-year-old man that has only been taught of marriage by what he was shown of the time. And Claire is, this independent woman from the future that has shown him the right way. So yes, there are some missteps, okay? I need to grab my wine for this. Claire, an educated woman from the 1940s. Jamie, first of all, rape is never the victim's fault. And now you better listen, because I'm going to say this just once. If you should ever raise your hand against me, if you ever hurt me, I will, and I promise this, I will make this marriage a living hell for you. And from now until the bitter end, I swear to God that you will regret it. Jamie, some Highlander from the 1740s who knows better than to disrespect his wife. You're right, Claire. I'm very sorry. Forgive me. Yep, since that is not what happened, it took all the fun out of it for me. Is that how you expect any guy from the 1700s to act? Because I promise you, historically accurate, it's not. Yep, since that is not what happened, it took all the fun out of it for me. I won't be able to continue this book and forget about what happened. I don't like the way this relationship is portrayed as a healthy one, or how Jamie is a man and a husband that teenage girls and women swoon over. We should all know better than this. You know what? Mind your business. Just mind your business, okay? Don't talk crap about Jamie like that. We are gonna skip to the next book because I literally can't listen to y'all diss Claire and Jamie this way. We are gonna go to the Poppy War. And can I just say, I'm terrified of this. Okay, here we are. The Poppy War has almost 2,000 one-star reviews. That's not as bad as Outlander, and I only read 2 of Outlander's one-star reviews. We gotta look at the length of these, because some of these are just way too long for a drunk me to read. Okay, this one's kind of long, but we're gonna go with it. Anna rated it 1 star on July 18th, 2018. Look, you rated it 1 star one day before my birthday, and this is one of my favorite books. How dare you? Finally done with this book. I haven't been annoyed with a book since The Bells, and like then, I see myself in the minority with this one. Basically, we have a generic military fantasy, frustrating, vague setting and historical background. The mythical elements are mentioned when needed to further the plot. Fang, I want power. Runan is an unlikable protagonist. We get little help in understanding her relation to said power. Highly inconsistent characterization. Lazy writing. I get that this is a debut, but all characters sound like modern day teens. No differentiation between them, particularly during her interactions with the Psych Squad in Part 2. Very few have a backstory, and none of them rises above their stereotypical war pal status. Kwong seems to blatantly use the historical events to give her novel a narrative frame. Not much is improved upon fantasy-wise. Not so keen on the drug-enhanced magic system, but hey, it had to further justify the title, and it beats explaining how the hell they use their powers in a more creative way. Okay. I know y'all didn't just see all that, because I probably edited out. But no, absolutely not. We are not gonna disrespect Runan that way. Rules of anatomy do not apply. No obvious consequences to destroying one's uterus. But it's fantasy, so you can poof it out of existence with some yummy juice and you're good to go. Okay, so I do want to touch on this because I did kind of have a problem with this when I read it, about how she just destroyed her uterus and was totally okay with it and it didn't affect her. You know, back then they probably did have some like potion type thing to just kill your uterus. I'm sure women found all kinds of creative ways to not get pregnant. I'm not saying that it was pleasant, but I'm saying that it was there. The Elite Sign Guard Academy part of the story is not done well. The war itself is not done well. Some of the battle scenes are laughable. What? No, they're not. Everything is feeling and seeing from the protagonist's perspective. Of course it is. That's who you're reading from. You're reading from the protagonist's perspective. So everything is going to be feeling and seeing from the protagonist's perspective. Oh, God. Okay. The dialogue is constantly being used to explain things in a forced, unnatural way. Don't remember that. Loads of telling, but no showing. You find out things because Ren remembers having read them, or someone gives her yet another history lesson. Good for her. How else are you supposed to find things out? Speaking of Ren, as far as the plot goes, her superpowers are behaving like a whiny brat. I will not disagree with you. Nobody ever said that Ren was a likable main character. Holding grudges. Also, not going to disagree with you on that. Blushing at the sight of Alton. Why do we highly regard Alton in this series? I don't like him. That is, when she's not busy eloquently challenging his or anyone's authority. Fuck you, she said. Fuck you. Okay, but that is what is so great about Ren, is she challenges everybody. Comparisons, repetitions, and other silly phrases meant, perhaps to sound poetic. It was only a corpse that was being preserved in chemicals like pickled vegetables. It was a song of vengeance. It was a horrible song. It was a wonderful song. It was utter carnage. It was beautiful. The Empress was beautiful, lovely, and terrible all at once. Not a fan of this type of writing. You know what, boo? That's on you. I am. I'm a fan of this type of writing. But you know what, boo? You do you. You do you. Because we over here, we love the Poppy War and we love this type of writing. Most importantly, like in the bells, I find the message of the novel monstrous or poorly dealt with at best. The killing of some justifies the killing of many others. It doesn't justify it, okay? She is being honest. Alright, and she goes on to rant about this, and I see something about Red Rising in here, so I'm about to get really upset. So let's just keep on trucking, shall we? The good thing about the third-person narration, in my perspective, is that it helps with the world building. The all-knowing, the all-seeing voice can describe whatever settings, characters, or facts in however much detail it feels necessary to tell the story. That is why I find Dara's point of view in the Red Rising series absolutely ridiculous. We're not even on the Red Rising series, but what? Also, one that I thoroughly enjoyed. Kwan goes in the opposite direction. She chooses the third-person narration that, rather than being an all-seeing, knowing, what have you kind of perspective, is situated at the protagonist's eye level. What she knows, we know. What she sees, we see. We have more lines on how the character feels about the events of the battle than the actual battle. Isn't that normal? That we know what the protagonist knows in any given book? Most of the time? I read that the enemy has some sophisticated siege weaponry, and I want to know more about that. And I am pissed because I can deal with vague, but not when I'm presented with a fantasy world inspired by a historical setting that I know little about. And this will not do. I will finish the book, but so far I'm not a happy camper. Okay, it's not our fault that you don't know much about this. And honestly, I didn't know much about this. That was one of the things that I loved about this book, is that I learned so much from the Poppy War series. I'm skipping the rest of this comment because I need one that's shorter. Can we have a short and sweet 1-star review? Alright, Truly Bookish rated this 1 star as well. I just can't connect with the main character. She flies into an uncontrollable hormonal rage the first time she gets her period, and then finds the entire prospect of having a period every month so abhorrent she has her uterus chemically removed after one period. As a woman, this doesn't speak of strength or whatever the author was trying to get across. DNF. If you DNF'd at that point, I feel sorry for you. You missed so much goodness. Okay, so the last one that we're gonna do of this, because this is already super long, is the Touch of Darkness series. Let's go. Okay. Only 5,000 of these. I'm kind of scared, and I'm getting kind of emotionally, exhausted from this. Okay. Nellie rated this 1 star. This is basically an unedited, underdeveloped Greek mythology smut. It definitely is a Greek mythology smut. I won't agree with the rest, but it is. This book is the worst parts of 50 Shades and Lore Olympus had a baby. I don't know what Lore Olympus is, but it was just terrible in every aspect, and I will never understand how this even got published in the first place. Insta-love? Check. Insta-love, yes. We love it. Cringy dialogue? Check. Really dry plot? Check. What plot? What plot? Hello? Did you not read that 3rd book? Obviously not. Bad writing? Check. Do not agree. One-dimensional characters? Check. Also, do not agree. Please. I didn't even expect much from this book. All I wanted was to read some trashy romance story with decent writing. But this was so bad. I'm about to cry. I guess I'm just not the target audience for this one. I guess you weren't. I am running out of comebacks for this. I am too drunk for this. Maybe this is why nobody has ever done this video before. We'll see. I'm gonna try to do at least one more of this, and then we're gonna end this because it's way too long. So this one's pretty short, so maybe we'll do 2 more. Alette rated it 1 star. This, not for me. I am not usually a fan of urban fantasy paranormal, and this book sadly was everything I do not like. Well then, that explains a lot. Simply the tropes which were used in this novel was too much and not enough at the same time. The plot was very lackluster. The characters felt very flat, and motivation they had made sense, but it wasn't enough to actually carry the story. I don't understand that statement, but whatevs. Scarlett St. Clair's writing style was not my cup of tea. It felt like I read not particularly good fan fiction. You know what? I'm not even going to get mad at this. They admitted that it was not their style. Period. Not everybody likes the same thing. We get it. So sorry if you hear my son out there, my poor husband. We loved him. He's amazing. He's gonna keep going for just a little bit longer because I need to finish this. Mari or Mary, I'm not sure which one that is supposed to be, but Mari or Mary rated this 1 star. Well, this was terrible. First off, the whole premise of the gods being really old but Persephone being 20 was so stupid. No, it was not. She was the child of a god, so, you know, that could happen anytime. It makes no sense at all and only exists because what's a fantasy romance without an old mini, a virginal almost teen? All of the details about Persephone's life were flimsy. I don't think so. The fact that St. Clair makes Persephone a journalist to then make her the worst journalist of all time a choice. Definitely didn't make her the worst journalist of all time. If you think about any of it for more than a minute, it all starts to fall apart. And if you try to understand why anything is the way it is, or why the characters act the way they do, don't. This feeds right into none of the character motivations making sense, primarily because there is barely any characterization. I have no idea what we're supposed to think or feel about Persephone, the virgin sex goddess who is brave but also waiting for Hades to save her constantly, and is a journalist but wouldn't know a fact if it slapped her in the face. Seriously? Why do we gotta get personal? Okay, we don't have to get personal in this. Hades, Jesus Christ, he just stood there and said nothing unless it was to proclaim that Persephone was his. She kept asking him questions and he would just say nothing. I mean, the whole plot, LOL, hinges on Persephone assuming the worst of Hades, but that would fall apart if Hades just went, oh, actually, that's not the way it works. Don't worry. He doesn't. He just stands there, I guess. Okay, I am a fan of the miscommunication plot. I like it. I'm sorry. I can't help it. The writing and editing are bad. It's full of repetition and could have been halved considering how full of nothing it was. Even if you go into this expecting erotica and not romance, I found those portions of the story equally as generic or bland. Excuse me. No. At one point, we just have these back-to-back wham bam thank you ma'am scenes that had me rolling my eyes so hard. No ma'am. No ma'am. No ma'am. No ma'am. No ma'am. I'm hard pressed to say what the appeal is here. It's not the writing. It's not the cardboard cutout characters. It isn't the nonsensical world. Do not recommend. You know what, honey? That's your opinion. I honestly have to cut this off here because my voice is starting to go out. And I can't. I don't know what I've really said in this video besides for like facial expressions and whatnot, but I hope you enjoyed it. I am so sorry that I got to like 2 reviews a book, but I am very tipsy, like almost too tipsy to be reading this, so that's my bad. I hope that this is a somewhat enjoyable video, even with my son screaming in the background. And I hope that you will subscribe and that you want to watch more of this lovely face. Don't hate me for loving all the books that y'all 1-star recommended. I shouldn't say y'all because it's probably not all of y'all, but like seriously, some of these were just not right. I am going to get off here and go cuddle my baby because he's screaming his head off, and my poor husband. So, like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed this very drunk video. I hope that you will subscribe, and don't forget to click that little bell icon to get notifications whenever I post, because you know, your girl will be posting. And yeah, I hope to see you guys soon. Thank you for sticking around and watching my drunk ass. Love you guys. Mwah, mwah, mwah. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.